Hey, I'm Nate Andrade. Today we're going to be talking about basic lines and strikes for the performance or creative competitive bow. We're going to be breaking down the 7-strike combination made famous by Mr. Mike Bernardo, and we're going to be taking it apart, going through it technique by technique, line for line, and I'm going to be teaching you guys my mindset behind how I do my strikes and how I do my lines to create the best illusions possible, as well as getting the most speed and power out of it. So without further ado, let's get it going. It's showtime. Okay, so the first thing to understanding line is you have to understand what the bow looks like from a visual standpoint. If I were to take the bow and try and draw it on a piece of paper, the easiest way for me to do it would simply be to draw a straight line. So going from that perspective, when you take a line and you turn it around fast enough, you stop getting just a line and you get a circle here. Now on this plane I get a circle, but the cool thing is that I could keep doing this same circle on this plane, turn it sideways, and now I get a line again here because I've changed planes. I can also change planes and do it this way and also get a line. Anytime you're using the weapon, whether it be striking or spinning, you're always using, from a visual standpoint, circles or lines. Now let's move on to some of the strikes. So we're going to start from the basic position, left hand down, right hand up. And I like to keep my hands shoulder width apart. I know some people like to teach it, break the bow into even thirds. I like my hands shoulder width apart simply because if I ever pick up a weapon, like a different bow, someone else's bow, and it's shorter than mine, I don't want to have to rethink about where my hands are or feel awkward about it. I mean, the length of the weapon is going to be awkward in general. I don't want to have to rethink about my hand position, so I always just go shoulder width for everything. Let's start with the first two strikes. The first two strikes we're going to do are upwards and downward strikes. And the way I teach these, starting with the right hand out, I'm going to keep the bow on the left side of my body here. The way I teach these is just like punching. So from here, I'm going to punch, and when I punch, I'm going to punch with this hand, and this hand I'm going to chamber like I'm going to do a back fist. So from here, I'm going to punch, and then back fist. Punch, back fist. Punch, back fist. And it's just like punching, exactly like punching. If I go to do my strike, and it comes out like this, I always ask my students, even if my line's correct, my bow line is correct, my arm line is not, because my arm isn't extended. I always ask my students, hey, if I asked you to punch that way, and you punch like this, would it be a good punch? And, you know, most of the time they say no. You always want to extend. The bow makes a line. My arm makes a line. For the bow to become an extension of my body, I have to let the weapon extend the line of my body. So from here, I'm going to punch straight out, the bow's going to come up, and I've extended the line of my arm this way. Now I'm going to come back down, I'm going to extend the line of this arm, this way. Also, now let's talk about line. From here, when I do these strikes fast, I make a half circle, I make 2 half circles going either direction. So from here, 1, 2, half circles. Those are my half circles. If I turn and face it on this plane, now I make a line. Just like that. Our next 2 strikes in the combination are the left and right strikes. Again, starting with the right hand out from here, we're just going to punch straight out with the left hand. Hand's just going to go straight out this way, holding onto the bow. The bow's going to go on the right side of the body, just like this. And then back with the right hand. Left, right, left, right. Notice how I'm still punching on my center line. I'm not striking out here. I'm not just wiggling my arms. I'm punching straight onto my center line. Now when you look at it from the side, you'll also see how the bow continues the straight line of my arm all the way out to the full extension of the weapon. And then the same thing coming back. This is really important as we start to get into using our lines for illusions later on. Here, 1, 2, 1, 2. See how it extends out? Again. 1, 2, 1, 2. Our next strike starts with the right hand out. From here, you're going to bring the bow all the way up to the block position here, and then you're going to cross your arms, bring it all the way onto the right side of your body. This is the cross strike. I call it the cross strike. Now, normally when we do this in the Bernardo combination, we're doing it down here. But I like to teach it up here because it's a lot easier to get that line correct. So from here, starting from here rather, I'm going to bring the bow up to the block position, then I'm going to cross and keep the bow going horizontally. You want the tips to go horizontally when you do this strike. So even if I was to bring it low, I want the tips to go horizontally into the strike and not here down. I don't want the bow to cut down. I want it to cut across this way. I use this strike a whole lot when I'm doing a lot of illusion kinds of things because it's easy to lengthen its line. You'll notice it makes a line over the head when I do it, going back and forth, here and here, here and here. And it makes that same line no matter what angle I'm at. Here and here, here and here. So if I wanted to lengthen its line, I can go from this 45, going back to the other 45. I've lengthened its line because I've lengthened the amount of time it takes to get there and the amount of time it's over my head, but I've still done it pretty quickly, which is going to allow it to give the illusion of almost doing an extra spin over my head. Here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, if I were to do these strikes and let the bow tip cut down this way, you'll notice it doesn't make the same line over my head. So from here, I want to keep it all horizontal. Here, 1, 2, 1, 2. Notice how the bow still extends the line of my arm. This is important because, again, we want the weapon to look like it's part of our body, not just something in our hands. The next two strikes we're going to do are going to start from here. And we're going to start from the already crossed position here. Now, normally in the Bernardo combination, there's a couple different ways of doing it. I like to section it out so it's all strikes. Some people like to, from here, they like to circle up. I like to section it out so I see two distinct strikes. So from here, we're going to bring this hand out like a back fist. I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to back fist from underneath, and at the same time, this hand's going to pull back and rechamber, getting ready. So from here, hit. Notice the line's still straight from my shoulder, and then from here, this hand's going to pull down to the hip, and this hand is going to punch straight out. And this creates a 45-degree angle line with the bow. Now, it makes a 45-degree angle strike when it comes down, but it also creates a 45-degree angle with the bow when I'm locked in place. The line from my arm to my body should be 90 degrees, and the line of my bow should be 45. This is pretty important for showing off the strength of the strike. So from here, hit, and I'm just going to bring it straight up, hit, and then bring it down, pulling it down to the hip, and punch. There we go. Down, hit, punch. Just like that. And again, there's your 45-degree angle. Now, if you want to take it a little farther, I have a hard time doing this because I have long legs. But if you want to take it farther, you can extend the line of the bow with your leg. I have a hard time doing that. I have long legs, but it's an option if you want to do it. Okay, we're going to go back to using our left and right strikes a little bit. And I'm going to show you guys how you can extend your line. Now, remember that the line for your left and right strikes is just extending straight out from your punch. This way. This way. Extend straight out from the line of your arm. But we can extend that a little bit by changing direction. Direction in footwork is how we use our bodies to take the line that we already have with the weapon and extend it, change it, and create illusions with it. So the first one I'm going to show you really quick is here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to punch with my left hand and shift direction at the same time. Now you see how that creates an almost whole different look going from strike to strike. because it extends the line in which you see the weapon moving. Now, again, using the left and right strikes, it doesn't always just have to be the 45s. I can also change angles too, because normally we see it here, where the arm and the body make the 90-degree angle. Now I can take that and I can change it a little bit, and let's say I go here, which the bow's at a 45-degree angle down. I can then lean back when I go to do my up, to do a strike, and do it at the 45-degree angle up, and create another line. Here, 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 here. Just like that. Now we can create illusions, we can create impressionist movements through changing our lines, but we have to know the lines first. So that's what I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed and learned something. Go home, practice, go to your school, practice, get better. Remember what I said about lines. Remember how you do your strikes, you punch them out. Have fun with it, train it, make it your own, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.